problem with, you're dealing with a political party where every single time they take power in a brethren, they mash up the country, And nobody, this is no propaganda.
Chopper, hold on, Chopper. You run past something important, Chopper. Can you talk about the rains, right? Please slow down and break that down. Make people understand, say, we're not talking about what the rain do. We're talking about when it affect the crops them. So it wipe out the whole farming industry, You understand me? It wipe out the road them, It wipe out everything. So we have got so we imports keep increasing. We have to import more for subsidize.
Another my problem with the communism movement, right? Being trying to be in solo, trying to pledge allegiance to Cuba and major teeth towards US, right? When there's a breakdown in that cog or that system, you're gonna feel the effects on a drastic scale. So just by that polar thought alone, you can know say that is so mediocre thinking.
Project to life. When the Cold War end, when the Cold War end, remember, Castro pull up stumps and the Kremlin pull up stumps, and left.
All right.
If the very ideology that you support, if the very movement that you are aligned to has given it up, what the French fry is preventing you from moving away from it? Russia crumble. The USSR is no more. Yeah?
Korea.
That ideology of communism.
Not Korea.
Brother Chaps.
No, but those countries are not.
Them not listen to you, Chaps, so them not listen to you. Them not listen to you or nobody pan you,
The example
go listen to a comrade. No, go listen to a comrade named Beverly Manley.
All right. We'll tell you. So,
you're not listen to we,
But not only that, Michael Manley himself in 1989, when he threw the bush jacket into the garbage and was clad in a suit and tie and apologized to the Jamaican people for what he did. Michael Manley, Bridget, as terrible as Michael Manley politics was, because I'm not going to say him terrible as a person, because it's not for us to judge anybody, you know what I mean? Michael Manley was a Jamaican, and we have to honor that. But his policy and politics, as terrible as it was, he apologized before he departed this earth, and he said, if he had a chance to redo it, he would have done it different. Because you cannot, how on God's earth are you going to take a decision to side with Cuba over America? You have to take a middle ground. You have to take a softer tone, even though you might, in your personal mind, thinking that America is a wicked country, America this, America that. But you cannot carry the country on your back with your personal agenda.
Yeah,
when the rest of the country is telling you no.
Don't go before leadership, right?
But the country is telling you no, and you chase out the capitalists out of the country. How stupid are you when you made those comments to Jamaicans that there's 5 flights a day to Miami, choose one? Did you understand what happened when you did that? Listen, the Manley regime wrecked Jamaica between 72 and 1980. And the PNP regime again between 1989 and 2007 wrecked the country again. I don't know what else to tell any young person now who may say run up and down with PNP. I don't know how else to paint it. But all I can say to you, yes.
1 second, Chaps. Can Tido-san, give me your reason for the platform and you sound like a good scholar. See Chaps them on the platform, you want my box? I mean, if Dujan want to bring you up. But me your reason. He's pro Cantido-san. Pro
capitalism.
Manly. Pro Manly.
Oh.
Yes. Bring the pro-Manly person come, because I want to ask them if they understand the ideology.
Chaps, let me ask you a question. You see, even in a business, as a businessman,
so Cantido-san, I'm going to jump off so you can get my box here.
All right, so me I say, even in a business, this concept is so it's recognized, right? And even you probably as a businessman too. I'm a businessman, right? I may not in this particular moment and time, right? I may not like what is being proposed, right? But if it's better for the general mass, or it's better for me if you earn more money at a later date, then we're gonna shake hands to it. Me not like you as a person, but your policy makes sense. Because shake hands to it and move on and I work towards. I work well, work. It's a business aligned agreement, right? Right? It's not nothing personal, right? So even if you look upon it from a business concept, business people think like this all the time. Me not like you, me hate you, who is you? Me rather than anywhere else in any other room than this room, but with you. But this business policy, I bring we together and we're gonna shake hands to it and we're gonna work towards it. Right? And I saw you'll be ignorant for not for one leader and if you have that approach to in country, align your personal endeavors in leading a society.
Oh, you sound like a young youth. You sound like a young enough individual, my brethren. I can ask you your age group. You don't have to tell me exactly.
No, 30.
All right. So, me close to doubling your figures now. So, me there for a good look a while now. And let me tell you something, brethren. If I were 25 years old today, or even 30, and want to make a decision for my future, one of the first thing I would do, and I try to encourage young people to do this, examine the historical data for both political parties. Don't make nobody go up on the platform and announce a story and making no promises and try to pivot to you, like telling you say they will put $1 billion aside to give social media or to give TikTokers for content.
That way I use beat them.
Suck your mother content.
That way I use beat them.
Yeah? So don't make nobody come and tell you that. Tell you say, you know what? I'm going to put $1 billion in their budget and I'm going to make sure every TikToker, the more suck your mother you can tell people, the more money you get. You understand? The more under your mother you can send anybody, you'll get more money. Don't make nobody tell you that. All you need to do, and I said this to the young people, just go back to the history. Jamaica got independence in 1962. Measure the period between 1962 and 1972. Who formed government? Look at the data. Don't look at the data where I come out of the political office. Look at the data that is coming from the Statistical Institute of Jamaica or the international organization like the IDB, World Bank, IMF. All of those agencies that rate countries overall. Go and look at it. The JLP formed government in 1962 and they rule right up until 1972. Yeah? The PNP ruled from 1972 and they went all the way up until 1980. They were forced into an election, they call election 1980. The JLP ruled from 1980 right through to 1989. And then the PNP took office and an historical 18 and a half years between 1989 and 1972. Any young person now, you don't need no college degree to do that basic research. Look at the two political parties, look at their governance structure, look at what they have been able to achieve, and you come back and tell me which of the two political parties contribute better for Jamaica's growth and development. Go back and show me some of the policies that the PNP put in that was beneficial to Jamaica. You cannot find one.
In a more most unbiased reasoning, because my reason for both JLP and platform, they all know say me represent Jamaica Labour Party and most highly me rate Michael Andrew Holness, right? Right? Me advocate for him personally over party. Mr. Jamaica first, then Mr. Andrew Holness, and then Mr. JLP after, right? But me reason for and the only applaud when me give the PNP party in doing my research is the NHT, the National Housing Trust, right? They facilitated that initiative and then kind of actually put it to play. But when in their hands, it was flawed, right? Because it was a Ponzi scheme thing, pan out money to your dance kind of vibe. And me, personally, me grew up in a Manchester, right? And I'm a Manchester man. We grew up in Mandeville. So me exposed to the dance shit because me grew up in our area where Skendon rule, right? So, and then Skendon crony them. So me know, and Skendon a big PNP man, right? So me know the dance system as much as anybody else. I mean, nobody really like it, right? And then me know say it's a PNP thing, right? So my point is that yeah, the only thing when we give them credit for that, and then even with the credit when we give them is not a full 100%, it's like 30% because it was so flawed. If you check it, if you do the paperwork on the NHT, it was so flawed, right?
Before you do the paperwork on the NHT,
because Bruce Golden in 2007, 2008 start ratify the NHT, make people, actual poor people start achieve houses, you know, and the mandate of the NHT start carry out. and more people, regular average earning people start acquire houses, and Andrew owners take it further by reducing the interest rate and the mortgage rates and stuff like that, and increasing the benefits and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So it would
And
never
we
really
increase the
benefit
quality of housing in it too.
a
So
quality
even
of houses
again,
and the size of
and the
your
size
housing
of
too.
houses. I mean, have a youth in my community, right? Where they get one in a Mandeville. And when I go to school, primary school, you get a house. And the man used to come off I'm house every day. But when him get that house now, him start come off up at the neighbor, up at the second bus stop. I try perfect, just to cut a long story short. Him start come off every evening, come off at the other bus stop. I mean, I say, why am I come off? I say, come off my yard. He tell me, say, like he house where people them give. He embarrassed, say, whole school, I guess he say, he live this. So, you understand? And now, under this JLP government, you can see the house where the man
You're
are put
proud to come off
in.
and you stop now.
You're
That's a good
proud to
story.
come off and show anybody
Yeah.
you want to flex your house, your tile it attached, you have bathroom, you have modernized looking house, people in your community are look and I say, yo, me go build my house like that. And it's such a, you want to give somebody something when they're proud and someone embarrass them. You understand? And at the end of the day, everything, and that I just want a prime example for sure. You say, oh, the Jamaica Labour Party, when them go in a
Hold on.
If I can make a comment. If I can make a comment, one of the problems that I've always seen is the difficulty, and when Chaps was talking, a lot of that come out, the difficulty for people to do their own research, check through things themselves. It's almost like ingrained in a lot of Jamaicans is that them have to look to somebody else to educate them and to inform them of what the facts are. And when you have that sort of system, you open yourself up to all sorts of manipulation. If you sit down and you say you're going to depend on the Jamaica Gleaner to educate you and give you your opinions, well, they will skew it their ways. If you come on TikTok and say you're going to go onto a TikTok site or TikTok platform to educate you as to what the facts are, you're going to run into platforms which just trying to push a particular propaganda, a particular message. See? And Jamaicans, a lot of them are incapable just to go in, look at the data, and make decisions for themselves. You see it come up with this whole argument about the United States and Cuba. If you sit down and recognize your space and your size in the scheme of things, how could you be out to go and make a decision which it sounds nice, it sounds sexy, it sounds philosophical, but the only place you're going to end up is being hurt in the whole thing? Make me and Motley go and talk how she want to talk. Make Ralph Gonzalez and Rowley say what they want to say down there. Them can get up and say, oh, I have no problems losing my visa. Any Jamaican government that goes out there and takes a stance, and coming out of that stance, the United States make a decision that, you know what, we're going to stop sending remittances to the country. Or make a decision where, you know what, we'll stop giving visas to Jamaicans. That government will find itself out of office in no time. Any country, especially in this side of the world, that take a decision that's about them going to set up an alliance against the United States, is just going to end up hurt. That's just a fact. See? And we see it playing out in front of us. We see examples with the Ukraine. We see examples with Canada. We see examples with Mexico. We see examples with the EU. We have a front row seat just to see what is happening.
The engineer, me don't want to cut your chain of talk, but just for to your point, me one thing want to say if we know, make in our wise days and with what we know, make knowledge what we have, all we can say, talk is cheap, right? Them can go on any platform, any stage and say anything out of them mouth, right? But when them go in a back door and push come to shove, make we see if you follow up on the talk, the big chat we just make.
But apart from that, it also flow into a Chaps, I say. See? You have one government that operates on a basis that recognize that giving social benefits, which is important to the nation, to people within the nation, the vulnerable, has to be generated somewhere, somehow. And you do that by having a class that is going out there and is engaged in free enterprise. So the JLP embraces free enterprise, but the JLP also totally embrace looking out for the vulnerable, and they recognize the link between both of them. You have another party that is so in love with this idea that, oh, we're going to stand against the US, and in the same way, oh, we love the poor, that they try to go and do something without having the capacity and the means to do it. One government understand that your ability to look out for the vulnerable must be backed up by your ability to generate the revenues, try to make one run ahead of the other. You can't say you're out there try to give, and you don't have the capacity to give. See, that don't make any sense. But to a lot of Jamaicans, it just sounds sexy. See, a man come and a man make a bunch of promises. Just a bunch of promises. We're going to feed school kids. Oh, you're funny. We don't know. We're going to give what? Oh, you're funny. We don't know. We're going to set off $1 billion for TikTokers. Oh, you're funny. Oh, we don't know. And people just fall in love with that sort of thinking and thing. And today in Jamaica, we have to shift from that. I've seen that happen before.
Make the condition the guy can speak.
Maybe you can understand at all. When they long time, I know again.
Yeah,
Morning, everybody. I wasn't going to come into the box because I know it's generally not conducive to argue this point. But when Mr. Vegas, big up yourself, sir, said I was a big Manly fan, I have to push back on that. I don't recall ever arguing that particular position. So I just want to make it clear because he has a very large platform. And that is my reputation. However, I was trying to tell the gentleman earlier, Shane, that boy, you cannot have this certain conversation here because it is a 20v1, and if he makes a point, one person is going to make 3 points, another person is going to add another 2, and then he has 10 seconds to answer all of that before everybody says he's prattling on and carrying on and not avoiding the actual question. But I could ask the crowd this. I understand the ill feeling we all have towards socialism as a form of government, because historically it never seemed to do Jamaica, it never do Jamaica any favors.
Also, I think you have it wrong. You have to correct that, because I don't think most people here disagree with socialism. We disagree with how socialism is utilized, because both JLP and PNP, a matter of fact, if you look at the JLP policies today, they would have implemented more socialist policies than the PNP. So let's correct that, sir. It's not socialism that we're against. We're against.
He said, but he said it that much, chaps. Him say, as a government, we don't like what them administrate as a government. So now fully ascribe us, so we hate it. He said,
exactly.
As a government.
Policies like free healthcare and free education are socialist policies. So you can't say the JLP doesn't. It strongly embrace socialist thing, but it just believe that you have to have the engine to generate the revenue to do that. Go on, talk.
Okay. But I think what Mr. Vegas wanted me to put out here for the crowd to really, push back on, if you guys will give me the second, is I don't think we give this form of government enough credit. And I can give you 2 examples, but I'll give you a more recent one. The only country that seems to be able to catch up to and become almost a peer in terms of power and economic power and military power is China. And that country is strongly socialist, right? And, well, socialists are communists, however you'd want to style it. And this form of government, it came, how do I say this? It was able to take this country from a backwards, unproductive farming country with no infrastructure. And within 1 generation, they are now able to touch outer space. The same thing could be said about the Soviet Union. So it's just the animosity we have towards this. Oh, welcome back, Vegas, to this form of government. I don't think we're giving it enough credit. And in my opinion, both parties are the same. And they could definitely...
No, hold on.
Sure.
Hold on.
But China is not.
China is not,
China is not a mass
it's not a straight
straight
communist
or
country.
socialism. China is a
Right,
mixture.
right.
Because
Right.
China has partnership. China has global partnerships, which is not right. And China.
Take out the global, hold on, 100, take out the global part. No. We look on the mass manufacturing, right? All of China's parliamentarians, all of them are billionaires. The whole 100 of them are billionaires.
Billionaires can exist in under
No,
that
hold
system,
on.
yeah.
Hold on.
King, listen to what the man I tell you. China is not a socialist state. It shifted from that a long time ago. China has the second most millionaires in the world.
No, but the engineer, they have the government of China actively has a program to create 300,000 millionaires annually. The government.
So I think a prevailing idea everybody is
Germany
here.
switched from Soviet for long time ago. So their growth was a result of that.
I didn't hear you 100, sorry.
No, I'm saying, you hear me now?
Yeah, man.
And Germany switched from that also from long time ago.
What?
Socialism.
Oh, when East Germany fell. That's what you're referring to, right?
Yes, that's what I'm referring to.
I think
that was the product of their mass growth when they start pledging allegiance to the European Union, when they become a main cog in the European Union. And then
well, I could ask you 100. Do you know what happened to the conditions of East Germany once they switched from socialism/communism? The life expectancy cratered and their economy crashed, right? And even to this day, East Germany is still seen as the poor side of
East Germany, yeah, because them still a mandate.
Have you ever been to East Germany?
Them are still mandate for the
Hold on, have you ever been to East Germany?
I don't have to stand in a
hold
desert.
on, 100.
Go on.
100, hold on. Candy,
What's up?
have you ever been to East Germany?
Son of Punkus, I don't have to stand in a desert to know it's hot. In the information age, I'm able to get enough information.
Desert cool at night time. Hold on, but desert cool at night time. Hold on, desert are freezing temperatures at night time. We're still a desert.
Punkus, you know what I mean? You know what I mean?
No,
Punkus. Everybody knows that the temperatures drop in a desert.
The desert hot. But at night time, many deserts have sub-zero temperatures. What are you talking about?
Punkus, please, no.
Still a desert.
We're both aware of this. When I refer to a desert,
hold on.
I'm talking about.
No, hold on, Afghanistan. Have you been to East Germany?
Punkus, I do not have to physically be somewhere to assess somewhere's condition.
Your question, brother.
Well, obviously no, Punkus, and I'm trying to respond properly. You don't have to be somewhere.
No, but I live in the Netherlands.
No.
I live in the Netherlands, brother, and I have been there. And me don't know what you call the poorer side.
Punkus. Mute up on the mic, people. Mute up on the mic.
Germany is the poorer side of Germany. That is a fact.
Dojan are with the host. I'm meet a person, you know.
What? Just like how I know Tivoli is not one of the wealthiest sides of Jamaica.
You know your sound like. Hold on, no. You know your sound like, brother. You sound like Teddy Lee Gray, who want to argue with me, who was 10 years old when Hurricane Gilbert blew. I'm not telling about Hurricane Gilbert. Fee Mama telling about Hurricane Gilbert. I'm going to debate Hurricane Gilbert happenings with me. I have been there, bro.
Okay.
So who you think would have a more understanding of what is happening there? Me or you? You read something. You watch an edited version of something. You read what somebody write, and I've been there.
That does not make you the authority on the subject just because you've physically been there, you know. There are a lot of ways to gather information about an area.
You know what? You're right. You know what? You're right.
Sarcasm or not, okay. So, really, I really just came on here to say when Mr. Vega said I was a big manly man, I just wanted to push back on that because, again, I don't want to be going on to other platforms, and that is what I am known for.
No, my general. But, I think I misconstrued it. And that's why I came back to it. I think I misconstrued it. I was speaking on your socialism, pro-socialism stance. Am I correct in that? So that's what I said. Right. So manly is a socialism, at a socialism ideology. So I wasn't saying it in that context, though, the context of the conversation. So I don't want it to be libelous.
No, man.
I wasn't tying it to manly.
Yeah, man.
So I was speaking on socialism still, because that was the context of the conversation. All right?
If Okay.
So
Good, man.
what me can
But if I could get back to what he's trying to say in the panel, he's trying to say because China implemented communism policy or stance or governance. That's the reason why they are what they are. They are, where they are today. I think that is what you're trying to say.
Within one generation, they were able to transform their entire economy, just like what the Soviet Union did after their revolution. They went from a farming country to, again, being able to touch out of space with technology and advanced rocket technology.
So what you're saying is because of the policies they chose, the communism policy when they chose.
Well, the results spoke for themselves, right? They were
How,
able to transform the countries.
just to ask you, how long was China a communist state?
I don't remember the exact dates. Mao came when? It was after World War II. I'd have to go look it up, but what's your greater point?
The greater point I'm making is that China's movement up the ladder, significantly up the ladder, goes hand in hand with their shift from being purely communist to being a capitalist state.
when they adopt both policies.
Yeah.
1949. Yeah. Candice 1949. China become communist.
No economist, nobody defines China as a communist state. Everybody knows better.
There's only two primary ongoing example in the world right now, North and South Korea, right? And you can see the vast difference in both states.
So I have to address that particular point 100 live, please, because whenever people use North Korea as an example, I have to emphasize again, just like Cuba, they have not been able to execute like China or the Soviet Union because of the intense sanctions. And also, again, in the sake of North Korea, please remember that that country was leveled by the United States military, absolutely leveled before they were sanctioned. So they
but the hold up, stop. The counter argument to that is that if your system of government and your policies, your economic policies is strong, then it should be able to withstand everything within this world.
It should be blossoming. It should eat.
No, I disagree with that.
I disagree. It's a fucking. If you're
Canty, just relax. If you have the superior economic policy position, you should be able to withstand all the rigors of this world, including the fact that nations will have economic interests, nations may sanction you, nations may form alliances against you, and if yours is superior, you will stand out. True or false?
Your premise is wrong.
True or false?
And this is the struggle, because you ask a loaded question and then I'm not allowed to explain
Make him answer.
Yes.
Just answer my question. True or false?
Both systems rely on trade as a means of getting, of growth, right?
I didn't answer that.
You see, and that is the problem. When you come on these platforms, you will ask a loaded question, my friend.
Canty, I'm different from Vegas. Vegas will sit down and entertain people like you and O'Shane, not answering questions.
O'Shane continues to find.
So you
ask a loaded question. I have to address something before I answer the meat of your question, because the premise is false. And if I don't do that, you say no, your answer is not quick enough.
All right, one thing more.
You either give me the breath to answer it.
Give him the breath. Make him answer.
Go ahead.
Okay, both structures of government require trade. Communism does not say we do not trade with the world. That has never been the position. And if the most powerful country in the world is able to convince or force the rest of the world to not trade with you, that makes growth more difficult. Okay? So the premise of your question is wrong, so it is not a valid question.
What was the premise of my question?
That the rigors of your governance and economic structure should be able to withstand all forms of opposition.
Yeah, so what's wrong with that?
That is not true.
How so? You're
because both forms of governance.
No, wait. Slow down. Whatever policy you adopt has to exist within a world. The same way an engineer will go out and he'll design a building, and that building must be able to withstand the forces of the world, earthquakes, hurricanes, whatever. Same way, you have an economic policy. It's not gonna go and exist on Mars. It's gonna exist on Earth. And on Earth, there are countries with interests, there are countries with preferences, there are people that have certain goals and certain drives. So your philosophy must be able to withstand the rigors of this world to count it as effective. You're saying that what I'm saying don't make any sense?
And also the engineer, North Korea, biggest trading partner is China, which is a global mass, right? So, and they're literally attached to China. They have to do no meaning shipping and trading, right? And that is their biggest partner. They are their biggest partner. So just to keep that in mind.
Yeah. No. Remember, at one point in time, this world was led by kings, people and they were the ones who channeled a lot of the resources. And we have moved from that. We have adopted different forms of government, different preferences in terms of how to grow an economy. And in all of that, all different systems come and fall. And capitalism has been found to be the strongest. Capitalism itself has morphed into a thing where no country today is purely capitalist. Most countries which are successful today embrace traits of both capitalism and socialism. See? So you telling me what you have said don't make any sense, Canty?
Can understand? May I ask a question? Like Cuba, is it forbidden that Cuba can trade with Latin Americans and South Americans and the Caribbean?
There is an embargo on Cuba. The United Nations has been begging America by virtue of it being a human rights violation. So yes.
So none of these countries cannot sell anything to Cuba or buy anything from Cuba.
You are not allowed to conduct trade with Cuba, right? As a matter of fact, America has gone as far and said you cannot even take their doctors anymore. Isn't that so? America is constantly applying pressure on Cuba.
Can Russia trade with Cuba?
I think so.
Can China trade with Cuba?
Can China trade with Cuba?
I love this point you two are making. Allow me to address it. China and Russia are one of the few countries in the world that are not subject to America's enforcement.
Why you can't just answer yes or no?
What did you boast about the significant economy that China was able to create
right
post-communism?
Right.
So if they're allowed to trade with you would say China is one of the powerful economic force in the world, right?
They have the second largest economy in the world, yeah.
All right. So if Cuba is allowed to trade with them, what do you mean by sanction holding them back? If that's what you're saying.
Because China cannot provide everything for one country. That's why on the global market, everybody America could lift their
What
sanctions.
is it? What is it? No, what is
Your
it?
point is there exists some trade, and I am saying by
No,
virtue
I'm asking
of
what is
America
it?
sanctioning Cuba, they cannot
There's so
trade
many. Venezuela
to the
traded
degree
them,
that they
Colombia
would
traded
like.
them, Argentina traded them, Brazil traded them, African countries traded Cuba, brother. Canada traded Cuba.
Canty, I thought the
What's up,
point
the engineer?
you're trying to make to begin with was that you are saying the system of government that capitalist and socialist countries adopt is the best system of government, is the best economic way forward for the people, and you're trying to use China as an example. That got blown apart when we tell her that they actually shifted from that. Zane, and no, I don't understand the point that you're making. You're telling us that, the reason certain countries like Cuba has not been and North Korea has not been successful is that they have been sanctioned out of the trade, from trading with other countries. And I tell you that, big man, every country have to just deal with the realities of the world. I don't see much more to talk about with this, to be honest, because I don't see a big
panel. Can I make
Well, if nobody else has a
statement?
question, I can go. Yeah, it's nothing for me.
Morning panel, morning everyone. To the one name Candice Turner or something. I don't know if I pronounce his name right, but me coming out see the full I name. Anyway, a lot of people have this ideology, say Jamaica to cut off the world and live on their own resource.
I'm definitely not one of those people, but I listen to you.
Well, I know. A lot of people say Jamaica cut off whatever and live. Live off on their own resource.
Hold on, the JLP Eastern Punkus. His name is pronounced Cantidosan. Cantidosan is business preference.
Yeah, because no, me never see it. So me never see full thing. So me don't know. That's why me say maybe me make a mistake with the name. All right, sorry, Candidosan. All right, what I'm saying now, a lot of people say Jamaica will cut off the world and live off of their own resources. If we had done that, say, 40 years ago, and use our own resources and not dealing with the outer world, do you think we would have these cell phones that we are talking on now?
No, I've never advocated for that kind of thing, but I'm
asking you a question. I'm not saying you did.
I answered you. I said no, and I am not advocating for that. So keep going.
So that's the reason why when danger was sent to you, when a person, you even bring it down to when a contractor builds a building, that building should withstand whatever storm, earthquake, or whatever comes across. And it was from the argument that you came in with China, with Cuba and South Korea. So they made a stand, and their stand is not blossoming. They decided to do what they think is best for their country, but it's not blossoming. Just like if I have a plant and you have a coconut plant and I have one, mine is growing and blossoming, yours not. Just the same. So some time when I come with a little bright self, members and everybody on our alone bright. Not be careful.
Okay, sir.
All right, Cantidosan, here's a different question because we move. I have to ask you this because you're an advocate for socialism. Tell me how you would implement socialism to be a success in Jamaica. Give us your. I'm personally listening. Give me your viewpoint on how Jamaica would succeed.
Okay, so the thing is
with socialism, given that we failed, we can't deny that we failed before.
Yeah, chip out sometimes, with that
earlier. All right, go ahead.
Okay, so there's no just blanket thing you do and call that socialism. It's really a principle, but are you asking me for what policies that are socialist leaning that I would suggest? You can't just say we're doing socialism and call it a day, right?
Yes.
Okay, you said yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, okay, so some policies that I would advocate for is nothing new and it's nothing that hasn't been tried and working. So for instance, Finland has some of the best schooling in the world. Matter of fact, I think they have the best in the world. One of those Nordic countries. And China is up there as well. Definitely not the United States, right? What do those two countries have in common? They got rid of private schools for children, right?
So just to understand, you think by removing private schools that will improve education in Jamaica?
Okay, I'm glad you asked that. It is not a matter of what I think. I like to see what policies have had the most success globally and see if they can apply to us. And I think they can apply to us. So yes, I think if we no longer had private schools.
Stop. That's not how we do things. We try to connect the dots. What it is that removing private schools will do that will improve the education system.
Okay. It will make education cheaper. The impetus for teachers to go to the private schools will be removed. And also, I think for me personally, one of the biggest things that it would fix is the classism that is taught at a very early age, because now kids from a different demographic income wise will actually have to sit around their fellow Jamaicans from, you know, a lower economic demographic.
Yeah,
So
that
did you know
remove
that?
classism. I do agree with him, the engineer.
Did you know that for years? Did you know that for years, teachers in the public school system actually earn more on average than teachers in the private school system in Jamaica?
Well, that's wonderful. Okay.
Yeah, I do agree with him.
So your thing isn't founded on facts?
No,
What
what
do
you
you
know,
mean?
I do agree with him, but it missed one key cog, whereby yes, the eliminative of the private school is a factor, but also in these two countries that he mentioned, China and Finland, it is under the law where school is mandatory for a particular age. I don't remember the age by number. I think it's 10 to 16 years old, where your household can come under significant. You can be on the wrong side of the law with your child not being in school, and your child is the education system is very rigorous and it's very drastic, and children cannot escape it, right? I wouldn't go as extreme to say it's a prison mentality towards learning and edifying yourself but I wouldn't say that, but it is on that scale end of the rope, whereby when when you leave basic school and you start to endeavor in high school now, it is a very rigid part of your life to becoming an adult, whereby you have to take your education it's seemingly like the only priority that you have in your life when you reach this age group, right? And there's no escaping it. It became culturally where it's a norm. It is not like in Jamaica where it's, if I want to go to school today, I can't. Or say for instance, America, Canada, these countries where, oh, I'm not feeling well, let me stay in. Oh, mom, call and tell the teacher that I'm not. If you're sick, if you have one leg, if you get the message, these students basically live in their school 24/7, and learning is the only priority they have. It is the only requirement they have. Any form of help they need, the government will provide any form of help. But your only pathway, the only priority I have for you as a government is that you are learning. And if you aren't learning, you're going to give. There is a level of accountability that you and your parents is going to have to show me. Why is your grade depleting? What is happening to you? Why are you? And that is the priority, the extreme length that these people go to, so that the particular age group escapes school with a certain level of education. And
Just say the word, man. Say the word, man. It's a dictatorship, man. Just say the word, man.
Yeah, it's a dictatorship under the school system and this government, and it's become culturalized.
Sometimes, in sense, sometimes good dictatorship good in some part.
Yes, it is good. It is good. It is good, and I do agree with it.
Not everything in dictatorship is bad still, you know.
No, it's not everything that is bad, because I fully agree with that, because America, say for instance, America spends more money. America spends more money than, like, 500 times more money than any other country.
It's monetary. It's a monetary thing, but we put in that context though, don't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but good morning, everyone on the platform. Have you guys ever looked at Singapore? Conti, I can't say that. Have you ever looked at Singapore education system?
Educational
system is now one of the best in the world. That they change their education until they now have their own economic system. And you know where Singapore got their model from? Jamaica. Yes. I studied this. I am currently doing early childhood. I studied this. Singapore is now one of the best. It is not dictatorship nor anything. It has a mixture of educational system that works for kids there.
Monetary.
It's mandatory.
So why would you want to? Some persons are not able to afford certain education system. If I can afford to give my child a better life than a better education that I have done, why would you want to stop me by cutting out the private school system?
But what me ask still, what me ask still, Jamaica, right? Just one thing more was said. Jamaica, if it's a Jamaica school system, we want some of that. We have too much free for all thing.
Yes.
We want to strict thing that is school thing.
Yes, the Jamaican school system is taking
Not
liberty.
talking about the rights or nothing, you know, but certain things.
Yeah, but Jamaican school system need a structure in especially when it comes to the reading. They don't have a structure. And even the books that we circulate in Jamaica system is not to help these kids.
All right. In Jamaica, teacher them do they feel like to do. Teachers they feel like to do what they want to do. The student feel to do what they want to do. Much free for
There's too much.
I don't want to
push the conversation to that. But am I?
Yeah.
Most of them, not all of them, most of them, free for all.
All right, me don't want to get to that.
Paycheck. Right now in Jamaica, paycheck them I work for. Not profit.
No, in all honesty, some teachers are not doing this.
I don't want to
doing this because they love it. They're doing it.
I don't want to get into that because to get into that is to assume that most teachers don't have the interest of the kids at heart, and me not gonna believe that. See,
no,
so
because I'm a teacher.
I'm engineer. No, I guess.
Let me just ask Amoy a question. I want to ask Amoy a question. Amoy, how do you solve this? Amoy?
Yeah, I'm here.
No, it's really Amoy. It's some education more want still, you know. I don't really want to talk. I just want some education. How would you solve the system of moving kids out of primary school into high school, even if they don't attain a certain level of reading and numeracy? There are some people who say you should retain them. There are other people who say retaining them will hurt them psychologically. How would you solve that?
Of course, retaining a child would hurt them psychologically. Of course it would. From the mere fact it make you look like you cannot move on, you're stagnant, so you're not moving on. But at the end of the day, we are at the level where we are transitioning from high school to, but Jamaica need to look on the early childhood system. If the early childhood is the foundation, Jamaica only look on early childhood. As a matter of fact, the Caribbean and the world look at early childhood as a babysitting job. We are not babysitter. And the first 5 years of a child's life is the most vital years ever. That is why they teach you how to spell your name. We as teachers are being trained. They need to train teachers in the terms of how to do literacy. We need to vamp. We spend too much time recording. The amount of time we spend recording, yet still we have the curriculum which is flooded with so much work. So the system needs to be vamped. Teachers are not doing it because they care anymore. I remember going to school when, even now my daughter is in grade for that, and I am having problem with them. And wrong. You have to rewrite the correction and rewrite on the page. Correction and do it over, and the teacher will mark it. And if I get it wrong again, you still have to do it. That is no more. Teachers are not even spending the time they don't love the work.
That was our point.
Just a while ago.
Yes, that is our point, because there is too much.
So wait, Amoy. No. Amoy. So Amoy, you're saying the reason, a big part of the reason is because teachers at the early childhood level don't love the work?
Teachers at the early childhood levels Jamaica government, the government now is trying to get them trained. Remember, early childhood is like your church of a school, one at the back, in the vestry.
No man, early childhood is also infant school. Early childhood is not just basic school.
What I am saying is, you see the government schools, like you go to a private school, they do not have a government infant school.
That's enough foolishness when the conversation reaches us.
I got to end the live now. I've gone 3 hours over today, guys.